Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
A lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion.
The WNBA now finds itself in a brutal financial freefall, watching its entire operation stumble without Caitlin Clark on the court. Once again, the league is proving it has learned nothing about protecting the one player who pulled it out of obscurity and into the spotlight. This is the story of how the league keeps sabotaging itself while its golden goose sits injured, and how refusing to face reality is costing millions every single day.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
In an era full of manufactured drama and social media noise, real facts are becoming as rare as sold-out WNBA games without Caitlin Clark. When she went down with a quad injury on May 24th, the league's dependence on a single player was exposed instantly. Now, with Clark sidelined again by a groin injury, we're watching the exact same collapse replay itself.
Injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so.
Nationally televised WNBA viewership dropped a shocking 55%. Indiana Fever games alone saw a 53% decline, falling from an average of 1.81 million viewers with Clark to just 847,000 without her. And this is where the situation stops being surprising and starts being predictably disastrous for a league that refuses to learn.
Clark went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%. Yikes. Across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th, national TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
While Caitlin Clark was filling arenas, breaking ratings records, and driving unprecedented revenue, the WNBA did absolutely nothing to protect its most valuable asset. Despite being responsible for roughly 26.5% of the league's total economic activity, she was left exposed to constant physical targeting while the league brushed it off as just basketball.
Is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her.
What makes this even more frustrating is that none of this is new. The WNBA has seen this exact collapse before when its biggest stars get injured. Yet the league keeps repeating the same mistake, like touching a hot stove, getting burned, and immediately reaching for it again while acting shocked by the outcome.
Really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. With the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone.
If you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to subscribe. The financial damage has been fast and ruthless. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games have collapsed by as much as 71%, with some seats dropping from $860 to just $250. Across the games Caitlin Clark has missed, average ticket prices fell from $137 to $80, a staggering decline that makes one thing painfully clear: she is the engine of interest in this league. Road games that were moved to larger arenas specifically to handle Clark-level demand are now struggling to fill seats. Even the Chicago Sky Fever rematch, once one of the most anticipated games of the season, saw ticket prices crash from $210 to $95. This was the same matchup that previously drew 2.25 million viewers. Without Clark, it's just another game casual fans scroll past.
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA has successfully broken Caitlin.
Veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan, whose upcoming book on her game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, is expected to spotlight these failures, has been one of the loudest critics of the league's handling of its star. The WNBA continues to fail to meet the moment, Brennan wrote after yet another incident where Clark was targeted. Her point is devastatingly simple. The league has the data. They know Clark alone draws more than half of their television audience, yet they continue to allow cheap shots and excessive physical play aimed directly at their biggest draw. It's like letting customers harass the one chef whose food keeps the restaurant alive.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
The pattern is now impossible to ignore. Clark gets hit hard by opponents more focused on sending messages than playing basketball. Of the league's 30 flagrant fouls in 2024, 5 were committed against Clark, with the Chicago Sky responsible for the majority of them. When Clark responds physically, she's labeled aggressive. When she doesn't, she's called soft. It's a no-win situation the league created and refuses to fix. Meanwhile, the financial fallout keeps spreading. The WNBA was already projected to lose $50 million this year. Without Clark on the floor, those losses are accelerating as ratings fall, merchandise sales slow, and attendance slides back toward pre-Clark levels.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
The most damning part of all this is that it was completely avoidable. Clark entered the league as a humble rookie who consistently praised her teammates and deflected attention from herself. She handled criticism with maturity well beyond her 22 years. The league had the perfect opportunity to protect her, support her, and use her popularity to elevate everyone. Instead, jealousy and petty politics were allowed to rot the moment from the inside. And the consequences go beyond tickets and ratings. Corporate sponsors who invested millions during the Clark-driven boom are now questioning whether the league can protect their investment at all. The WNBA seems trapped between wanting legitimacy as a professional league and chasing manufactured drama for clicks. You can't do both.
I admire about Caitlin. She's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players. You don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I done seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
The comparison to other professional leagues is embarrassing. Imagine the NBA allowing players to target LeBron James with dirty plays for months while insisting it's just competitive basketball. It would be shut down instantly. Suspensions would come fast. But the WNBA appears content letting this chaos continue, believing any attention is good attention. The result is a growing credibility crisis. Fans are openly saying they won't watch games without Clark because they don't trust the officiating or competitive integrity. When your audience loses faith in the product itself, the problem isn't marketing, it's leadership.
Lena, I believe the physicality and all this hacking and fouling that goes on, she getting blindsided by Marina Mabry. I think all of this stuff is having a wear and tear and an impact. And all you guys are doing are hurting yourselves because the numbers are going to drop and drop and drop. And trust me, when it's time for that collective bargaining agreement, they are going to point to this and say, well, how can we give you guys all this money? What happens if she gets hurt?
What makes this situation even more infuriating is that the WNBA has had multiple chances to correct course and failed every single time. Every incident involving Clark should have been a wake-up call to establish clear standards for player protection and competitive integrity. Instead, the league responded with the same recycled excuses about basketball plays and letting players play. The irony is brutal. Clark's injury, the exact outcome the league should have been preventing, has become the clearest proof of her value. A 55% drop in viewership isn't subtle. It's a warning siren. Yet even with that evidence staring them in the face, there's no sign the league has learned anything. Officials continue to hide behind vague talk of physicality and competitive balance, treating routine plays by Clark as controversies while downplaying genuinely dangerous fouls committed against her.
Because of the way they play the game, because I love the WNBA, I love the way they play the game. But we really watch it because Caitlin Clark and everybody watching. Now listen, if I keep bumping her, knocking her down, might get her a concussion, you might hurt her for real. For 2 weeks, she was done with like a hamstring. She was down. 55% of the viewership was down. She comes back the next game, it's about 3 million viewers. Now let me tell you something. Growing up in the hood, they teach you this. Always protect the money. Y'all keep hurting her and all that. She's gone for a year or two. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. If nobody watches, how y'all gonna make and generate money?
The solution isn't complicated, but it does require the WNBA to make an uncomfortable choice about what kind of league it wants to be. If it wants to be taken seriously as a professional organization, it has to start acting like one. That means clear, enforceable standards for player protection, applied consistently. It means ending the tolerance for manufactured drama that overshadows the actual game. Most importantly, it means acknowledging a basic truth of professional sports. The players who fill arenas and drive television ratings must be protected. The ongoing collapse in viewership, attendance, and revenue without Clark is a harsh reminder of what the WNBA was before she arrived, and what it risks becoming again. Without Clark, the league averaged just 555,000 viewers this season, down from 670,000 last year. That's not growth. That's regression back to empty seats and games that only the most diehard fans bother to watch.
What I saw walk into the game is what the media don't see. Thousands of kids.
Wearing what, Gil?
Kids. Huh?
What were they wearing?
Caitlin Clark jerseys.
Were they Fever jerseys? Were they Iowa jerseys? Were they
wherever she played? It was whatever she played.
And that's what was more impressive to me.
It did that. It wasn't just it was Caitlin in the back.
For her style of play.
But her style of play. But it wasn't what we were. It wasn't adults. Right. It was parents bringing their kids and their friends. Them seats was kids filled. Right. And that's what they don't understand. They don't grasp that part of it.
The most tragic part of all this is that it never had to happen. With proper protection and smart promotion, the WNBA could have used Clark's popularity to build a stable foundation for long-term growth. Instead, they built a house of cards that collapses the moment their biggest draw steps off the floor. Until the league learns to protect and promote the players who actually generate interest, it will remain trapped in the same boom and bust cycle, where one player's presence determines whether the league matters at all. The real question isn't whether Caitlin Clark can carry the WNBA. She already proved she can. The question is whether the WNBA will finally learn to protect its golden goose, or continue sabotaging itself until the opportunity is completely wasted. Based on everything we've seen so far, there's little reason to bet on common sense suddenly winning out.